Steel, John Henry Irons. I have to admit, I've always liked the story of Steel. It was different and unique and fun. And, well, to be perfectly honest, of the reign of the Supermen, he kind of made the most sense in that, he couldn't possibly be Superman. And you didn't have a big guess about if he was Superman. Yet he seemed rather heroic. Long story short, Superman saves him. He decides to devote his technical knowledge and abilities towards fighting crime. And Mafex has blessed him with a pretty damn good figure. So let's talk about it. First, the accessories. Okay, you got the typical complement of hands. Of course, I'll be remiss if I did not mention the hammer. That can separate. The hammer is pretty immense. You also have swappable heads, which this brings in the kind of Destro question of how is a guy with a metal face talking? Yeah, I mean, he's gritting teeth in one and he's screaming on the other. First off, that gives you a major point of vulnerability, although it is what he does in the comic. And second, you gotta ask yourself, how's metal moving? Now, he has these blast effects that are supposed to be there to simulate flying. Well, yeah, I get it, but I don't like them. And of course, he has a fabulous wire cape. Now, I'm gonna say it at this point, is his wire cape is a lot better than Superman's. And if I ever thought about swapping out capes, that's one I'm thinking of. It's got a wire in the back that helps it get more stable, whereas Superman's does. Now, of course, detractors are going to say he's too small. I set him here beside us in Marvel Legends. And he's kind of where I think he would be, a little bit taller, but not, super tall. Now, of course, there is the head size, because it can be argued Marvel Legends have melon heads or Mafex have pin heads. Either way, you can go either way with it. But one thing this figure does accomplish is it looks pretty damn good. I do like the overall look of the figure. The shine on it is pretty damn amazing. And I like how he's not just one color. It's a slightly more bluish hue to the parts that need to be. And gives it a little bit of a highlight. And breaks up the sculpt, which it was sorely needed. The articulation is masterful. Some people complain because Mafex do not have thigh articulation. I see their argument. I also see the counter argument of it doesn't need thigh articulation. And overall, they stand pretty good. I am very few and far between with Mafex. I do admit to having a weakness towards some of the reign of the Supermen. I'm pretty much getting all of those. I'll probably end up getting the Doomsday, although I may regret it later. And, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities with this figure. You can do a whole lot with him. It's actually kind of a lot of fun. And that's what toys should be, is fun. Sadly, the import price makes this a little out of whack. And honestly, again, is it worth it? Ugh, even though you got to add in import tax, it does sting quite a bit. And let's face it, Steel is not an A-list character. Honestly, if I didn't have a fondness for the reign of the Supermen, I would not have done it. And that's that simple. And, the other thing is you can say is, well, they're not releasing them all at once, so you can kind of pace it out. Which does help, but still, even doing that stings the wallet when it happens. And all the time, every time I do a Mafex video, people say, oh, you can buy it at this place, you only spend $60, except $20 shipping. And unless they have a whole lot you want in stock at the time, you're not really saving much. You're saving $5. Yeah, true. $5 is $5. But at the same time, I'm thinking this should go for 60. And I would really hope that Mafex would some way somehow get around the import fees and be able to bring these out to the United States. Of course, I'm sure McFarlane would block it because then everybody would see how crap his figures are. But at the same time, this is what it is, and this is what we have, and you kind of got to make decisions. For me, it's the Reign of Supermen and a few others from the DC roster I would go this far for. Marvel, not so much. I've gone with Marvel for 2, and I think I'm going to keep it at 2 because I don't see a reason to go any further with it. But DC, yeah, I've been wanting a DC 6-inch line for so long. And at this point, I got my 2 faves of Batman and Superman, which, stay tuned for Superman. He's around the corner. And I'm going to probably keep going with the Reign of Superman. And if any of my other favorites pop up, definitely. There's not far I would go into DC beyond that, though, with this price tag. I accept the import tax. I accept the problems that come with these figures. I do wish for a cheaper alternative, but I will continue buying these as long as they make guys I want. I will never buy all of the Mafexes that come out all the time because that is just too much money. But that wraps up this look at Steel. I would definitely recommend this figure. It's a nice figure. I enjoy it a great deal. I find myself messing around with it all the time, along with Cyborg and the others I've gotten from the DC set. This is really good. And that will wrap up this episode of Infinite Realms. Don't forget to do the like, subscribe, comment, and all that stuff. And yes, I buy cheap toys and I buy expensive toys.